Hello. Hey, it's Lizzie. I am here to do the virtual preview for Unit 2. Before we get into that, I just wanted to remind everyone that there are artifacts posted now in Unit 1. There are 2 artifacts that have low, medium, and high samples of student work. One is over, they're both journal entries in their science journals. One's over what is a scientist, and then one was a 3-2-1 over states of matter. So if you want to check those out, they're on Blackboard now under Unit 1 artifacts, so that you can see some samples of what science journals look like in my class and kind of how I can rate scholars and their student work. Okay, let's get started on Unit 2 at a glance. It is going to be from September 25th through November 3rd, so it's coming up soon. Important dates are we will have a Monday off in October on the 9th, and then we will have CAs coming up in not too long during Unit 2 as well. So just be prepared for all of that. But I have scheduled the right amount of days so that you should be able to fit everything in on here. Unit 2 is over, the IB unit is where we are in place and time. And my school does a lot on personal histories and artifacts, kind of in how the past can impact the present. And obviously different schools will take the where we are in place and time in different directions. With the TEKS we have, though, it really does go along with studying people from the past as well as studying timelines really well. There are a lot of humanities TEKS this unit. I tried to split them up as best as I could and give us more time on specific ones. But we'll start talking through it if you want to pull up Unit 2 at a glance on Blackboard. It is located up there right now. And I'll just kind of talk through it quickly to give you some basics of things you need to know. We're going to start off with interpreting timelines and also learning about what an artifact is. The timelines are a big TEK, and being able to study chronological order, it really helps with number lines and math too. So it's just a good skill to have, but they're going to be creating timelines about their own lives, which is always super cute to see. So they'll be filling out some information they can take home to get, information for their timeline, and then actually create it in class together and present those, and helps your class learn about each other and also helps you learn about the past. We'll be studying a lot about different people as well. We're learning about landmarks and their significance. So why they're important, why they were created, things like community, state, and national landmarks, such as monuments and government buildings. And this can really go well with where we are in place and time. You could even add, if my class normally does a class timeline, and we kind of put everyone's birthdays on it and put people from the past, and you could even add like when a landmark was created to that. It's a good thing to have in the classroom. We're going to learn about presidents, the ones from the past, the ones we currently have, and kind of how they impacted society. That's always fun. We're going to learn about basically tons of different people like Sir Edmund Hillary, Neil Armstrong, how they were individuals. We're going to look at different sources of information so they know how to look at more than one source and different types. And we'll talk more in a minute about kind of the summative what we do at my school, but that's another great time to look at different resources for a given period or event, such as reference materials, biographies, newspapers, electronic sources, all of that. Those skills we'll be working on. We're going to do a fun experiment on George Washington Carver. He was this inventor. He invented all kinds of things. He made tons of things out of sweet potatoes. A lot of them we still use today, so they're going to learn about him since that goes with the unit, and kind of who he was, what he did, learn about some of his inventions, and then we're going to do an experiment with sweet potatoes since he was so into sweet potatoes, and that's always a really fun day. They get to, use their 5 senses, and they get to practice the scientific method, which is a huge skill, especially in 5th grade when they have that STAR test. We're also going to learn about Ruby Bridges and segregation, and kind of the impact that she had. And then we're going to learn about Malala and her advocating for girls' education in the Middle East, and kind of have scholars be thinking, what are little things that they want to advocate for. Obviously, Malala makes big impacts, but there are little things that, you can do every day that they can think about. Like what place did they want to have in history? What do they want people to remember them for at the end of the year even? As we're talking about why people are remembered from the past and their importance. We're going to talk about the significance of community, state, and national celebrations, such as Veterans Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Thanksgiving. So why they're important, why we celebrate them, that they're not just a day to have off of school, that there's a reason that they're a holiday. Sometimes kids just think, oh, we just get this day off of school. So really having them be able to explain the significance. Also, the pledges are a take on this unit. So 2.14a is the Pledge of Allegiance and the Pledge to the Texas flag. So I have a day on there for that and patriotic songs. That can just kind of be a more fun day where they maybe can recite the pledge to their table group and practice some songs that our country likes to sing. We're also going to be talking about symbols of the United States. Those could be added to the timeline too if there's a specific date that it was, decided that was a state symbol, or the bird and things like that. For science, there's really just 2 big teaks, and it's 2.6a, which is investigate the effects of an object by increasing or decreasing amounts of light, heat, sound. So I tried to split it up where you at least get a, one little experiment at least for each of those. So we're going to start with light and kind of doing some experiments, and you should have hopefully 2 to 3 days with that depending on, what's going on in your classroom. But there's several little experiments that go along with that. And then I've got a day for sound and then 2 days for heat energy where they're going to do some experiments. With the heat, there's just really easy things to do, like bring a hairdryer and some crayons, and you can show them how it melts when something gets hot. And then if you leave the crayons again, they'll turn from a solid to a liquid back into a solid. And then I have a little hot chocolate experiment where you have, different temperatures of water. And then you're going to have scholars check which of the waters absorbs the hot chocolate the fastest, which it's obviously going to be the hottest one, but that's just a fun little experiment because they may not know that. And then the other teak for science is with magnets, properties of magnets, comparing properties of magnets through non-magnetic materials. So hopefully you have some resources at your campus so they can get some hands-on magnet experience and kind of play around with that and see what the magnets are attracted to, what they're not. My kids always love learning about magnets because it's just fun. And then at the end, I have 2 days for the summative. So you should be able to fit that in. There's 2 extra days there, so hopefully you can do a cool project of some kind. I'm going to try and do more than that. I think more than 2 days. We'll normally spend like a whole week on our project. For STEM scopes, there are some great resources for 2.6a for forms of energy and 2.6b magnets. You can find those on page 7 and page 9 in the student books. We will talk more about those lesson plans. If you want to talk through those more, come to office hours. We're going to talk more about those and kind of how to use STEM scopes, how I use them, ways to incorporate them into a lesson. So I'm not going to go fully into that. There is an AML over 2.6a that's located on Blackboard. And again, we can talk more about that at office hours if you would like to come to that. For the summative, like I said, you have 2 days. My campus we do a big project where they choose a person in history and they basically research them, find several sources because that's one of the teaks this unit. they make a timeline of them. They look up a bunch of facts about them, and then we have a day where they dress up. All the parents come, other grade levels come, and they get to be that person that day and tell everyone all about them. But that's a fun project. We can, if you have, we're also going to talk about summatives at office hours, so if you want to come with questions about that, I have plenty of info. There's also an assessment that you can give at the end of the unit over light, heat, sound, and magnets. It's not too long, so hopefully everyone can fit it in. I know it's hard with the summative and doing assessments. There's also in resources a few exit tickets you can use over several things, as well as I put some PowerPoints on some of those people I was talking about if you want to use those. Let's see what else. I think that's basically all the main points. Oh yeah, and do your provocation that first week. Try to get that in. I know it's hard to fit everything in always in science and humanities, but try and get that provocation done and do a cool summative. And feel free to email me with questions, ecavender@uplifteducation.org. And I will see y'all at office hours hopefully, so we can talk more about STEM scopes and those summatives. Thanks for listening.